Welcome back, beautiful souls. This is Soldier of Light reporting for duty. And I have a special guest today. And it's amazing that I actually had this opportunity to speak with her. This is Miss Danielle. She'll introduce herself as well. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. If you haven't, then this amazing opportunity for you guys to kind of get to know a little bit about her and some of her journey. And I just wanted to, as I'm meeting all these new faces and these beautiful souls that I'm meeting with, it's amazing to always hear their journeys, see where they've come from, see where they are in their journey now, and some of these abilities or some of these skills that they've developed over the years, or some of the things that maybe they've put on the back burner or put away because of these things that they've always had. And what this is, we're just trying to bring some awareness to people, help them feel comfortable with some of these things that they may have gone through or are going through currently. So that's the purpose of these types of interviews that I have with these amazing souls. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Miss Danielle. And if you want to just kind of introduce yourself and just whatever you feel comfortable saying.
Yeah, hi Jason, and hey everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's very humbling. It wasn't until Jason mentioned about sharing my story that I didn't realize how much I've actually gained over the last 30 years. So yeah, thank you so much. My name is Danielle. I am Miss Psychic D. That is my working professional name. So as soon as I say Miss Psychic D, Spirit know that's my time to work. I am in Australia, so you'll probably have to forgive the ochre in me. But well, my journey started probably about 35 years ago. I was a natural born intuitive. It does run in the maternal side of my family. My mum was a white witch. My brother was a medium. My sister has a clear knowing as well, but none of them use it like I do. So it probably started. My earliest recollection would have been when I was probably in my early teens. I used to be able to pick up on emotions really, really easily. The best example I can give is we were on a family holiday and I was sitting outside a bakery and we were just waiting for our food as a family affair. And I sat down in this chair and I just started crying. And my dad's looking at me going, "What do you got to cry about? We're on holiday. We're having fun, like da 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 da." I go, I don't know why I'm crying. So yeah, I was actually picking up feelings first, emotions first. So that's the clairsentience. And then I used to be able to, well, I don't used to, I still do. I could see possible future outcomes. So I could actually see things happening before they actually happened. So yeah, with my skill and my abilities, I didn't learn how to do this. I had to learn how to manage it. So that's where I'm a little bit different to some people. So
I totally relate to that. Same thing. I've always been an empath, for me, and I've seen spirits times throughout when I was younger. My family's the same way. My mom was very intuitive. My families have seen spirits all the time. It's just something that I feel like it's part of your DNA. I feel like it's part of your tribe, whatever it is. There's gifts that are given, and I feel like those things are passed down. So I feel you on that situation where I've always been able to feel when things weren't right. Not maybe as much emotionally. Like I am an empath, but I feel like I just feel maybe more of the collective than unless I'm interacting with somebody in one-on-one, then I may feel them. But if I feel multiple energies, and this is something that I know that many probably people have as well, and they just don't know. Like all of a sudden, like why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling sad? And I actually started doing that as I was working or growing up and moving along in my journey. I used to say those things like I wasn't having any angry thoughts or any sad thoughts, and all of a sudden I'm feeling just down or angry or just out of the ordinary for myself. And now that I've known these things, as you mentioned, your journey is a little different because you're still you've had these skills, but you're harnessing them. You're able to control them a little more. And that's part of my journey. Some of these people are just learning them for the first time. And my journey is similar to yours, where I've always had that and I've known that. And my mom as well. People have always told me, "You're psychic, man. You're psychic. How do you know these things? How do you know these things?" And I never harnessed it. Because I was raised as a Catholic, and as Catholics, everything that we were told is, don't tap into these things. Don't this is dark, this is evil, and these types of things that you're interested in, like cards or psychics and all that. It's against the norm. So that's why I feel like these types of conversations are very important, because I started getting to the point for myself where I started looking at these beautiful souls. And I'm like, there's no way, like tarot readers and psychics that I've been in contact with, and good energy healers and things. I'm like, I feel their energy. I'm like, there's no way that that person is doing something from the dark. I would know that without a doubt right away. And so that gave me the confidence to start to work on that. I'm like, this isn't from the dark. This is a gift that God has given us. And I started working on myself. And that's when I started to focus on I get all these random messages, but I never was able to harness it. So I started working with tools, the pendulums, the cards, and kind of making sense of these random scattered messages that I received. And it's helped me a lot to kind of harness and channel that energy. And because there's a lot of it around you, there's a lot of people that want to chirp in my ear. Is that similar to you, I would guess?
Yeah, definitely. My main challenge was to build a relationship with spirit and get them to tell me that, let them know that there was a time and a place for when they were to channel me, because I was getting it all the time as well. The catalyst for me was when my parents were really concerned. My mum knew, but they took me to a psychiatrist. They said I was going wacky because I did the same thing. I led into addiction and aggression because I didn't know how to handle everything. And then I got diagnosed with bipolar because my emotions were all up like that. And like I say, I work so intuitively, it's really hard to explain into words, but I remember walking out of that surgery, he gave me like 3 different tablets to take. And I remember looking at this script and I just threw it in the bin and I said, if you don't want to believe me, I'll work this out myself. And that's been my journey ever since. So it was a week after I made that decision that, like, I was in grade 12 at the time, I was at school and I always have to come home and have a nap. There was always an afternoon nap involved because I was just so exhausted. And I actually had an out-of-body experience. So I could see myself laying on the lounge and I could see myself, and then all of a sudden a massive American Indian guide come to my right-hand side. And he basically was communicating with me. I can't remember the exact words because it's through vibration, through energy. Sure. But he basically was telling me that he welcomed me into the Lakota tribe, first and foremost. And then he sort of said, we want you to go back and share Spirit's wisdom. We want you to go back and share their message, but it's up to you. You can stay, you can go, you can do whatever you want. And I actually felt really excited about it. And I said, oh, no, okay, I'll go. I'll stay. I'll go do that. That's all right. And that's when I gave birth to Lakota's Tarot about 25 years ago.
Ah, that's awesome. So when you say Lakota, is that like a guide, or is that actual deck that you have? When you say tarot, I mean, so what I mean is that a guide that you channel a lot, the Lakota guide, when you mentioned the Lakota tarot?
To be honest, I've never worked with guides. I've never had, I just call them spirit because there's so many different people. There's angels, there's fairies. They all have different symbology to me. I do work more with I've always been into American Indian culture, even before that experience. So as I progressed, all the dots, all the I's were dotted as I went going. But I just started channeling and they'd tell me what to do. So I'd be sitting there and I'd feel a little bit despondent, a little bit lost, overwhelmed, and they'd say, grab a pen and paper. So I'd grab the pen and paper and I'd start doing something. So automatic writing, first and foremost, and then I grabbed the tarot cards because they told me it was a tool just to keep the timeline. So I don't like calling myself a tarot reader because I'm not actually a tarot reader, but that's what people understand. So that's the words that I use. But it is about reading the energy and being able to accumulate it and keep it articulate and keep it in somewhat of a timeline. So, yeah.
I totally agree with that. I mean, that's the reason why I started using the cards as well, because I get all these random information from things all over the place. And I was like, okay, how am I making sense of these things? Like there's something I feel I have to be pushed into. And one day I just got this feeling like, start learning cards, start learning these things and what they feel and what they resonate with you. And something just told me to move to that as a tool. And that's what I started doing. When I started doing cards, like I picked them up quick. Like I felt like I could connect with them very quickly. And when it came down to, there's some people who it takes a while, but this just felt more natural to me. And I feel like that's something that I've thought about on and off throughout the years. And when I finally made that decision to say, you know what, I'm going to just do it and I'm going to
Yeah.
learn it. I talked to my wife about it. I'm like, are you comfortable with this? I mean, you're going to start learning. Because, like I said, there's taboo associated with these things. Oh, people are, everyone has a pentagram on their ground and they're doing all this dark black magic. So I'd say, you know what? I want to make sure you're cool with me doing this, in the home and all that. And she's like, yeah, totally. And at the
Excellent.
first couple days, I mean, she's like, I feel good. It feels good. And the energy's good because I work on the energy all the time. And I'm assuming you do the same thing because, when we attract spirit, there's good spirits and there's dark spirits that like to hang out in that little shadow waiting to pounce. So, but I'm sure you do. I'm sure there's things that you do. What do you do when you to clear energy or whatever it is to make sure that you're surrounded and protected?
Well, I like to, because I'm a law of attraction practitioner as well, I'm really cautious with the words I use because I believe words have a very strong vibration. So I like to say shield myself rather than protect myself. Because when it comes to law of attraction, it depends on how you're saying it and the emotional attachment you have to it. But if you say, I've got to protect myself, you will manifest things to protect yourself from.
Sure.
So I like to say shield myself. So I used to have a little spiel, and you'll hear me say it on my YouTube channel. Please, Spirit, use all my senses safely, securely, and full protection. So that's my way of putting up my shield.
Sure.
And then I'll start talking really loud and really fast. And then when I actually come out of a reading, I will get an incense stick and just put the smoke around me. Really important to get under the feet. A lot of people forget to do that. They sort of go around, but they don't get under their feet. In the shower, I'll just have a shower and I'll ask all energies that aren't mine to attach yourself to the water and go back into the earth where it belongs. Very simple things, to be honest. It can be really simple. Spirit told me all the time right from the start to kiss and keep it spiritually simple, and that's all I've ever done. So
that's an amazing way to do it. That's because there's a lot of information. I know that, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, as I know that there's a lot of information that sometimes I get downloaded from, and it's from multiple sources. So I do the same thing. I have similar things for me. I do. I mean, after every reading I do for someone, or if I do an energy healing session with somebody, I automatically, first thing I do is I sever all the energy around me and the things that are attached to me. That's not my own or the highest light and love or vibration for me. And I release it. I cut those cords. And I do that same thing after I'm done with my session. I'll light maybe a Palo Santo or some sage, and I'll kind of, go around and do, or some Florida water I use sometimes as well. And I've done that. And same thing in the shower. Sometimes I'm just close my eyes and I tell my guy or my angels and my higher self, release these things as it comes over me. So I kind of do some of these same things. And I feel like there's a lot of tradition to some of these things, but also I feel like there's individualization for some of these things, like we may do the same thing, like with the incense or whatever you want to call it, but we have our own words, our own intentions that we put out. So it's individualized, even though some of these practices are similar. So I think that's amazing that you're doing that. And I know there's not enough energy workers and psychics and I don't feel like a lot of them take as well or care of themselves as they should energetically. And I even told this to Kristen, and I said, Spirit's telling me from Tarot Arcana Shores. I told her, I said, Spirit's telling me, because I read for her. I said, Spirit's telling me you need to do a better job of severing energy, because you get a lot of it. There's so many people attached to you and energies. So you need to do a better job with that and protect yourself. So when I get these things, I just randomly get them and I tell people. But I was reading her at the time, and it's an important part. Not only developing your skill and connecting as much as you possibly can with your higher self or your divine being, it's protecting your energy as well, because we freely give it out, and people don't realize that we just freely give it out to the universe for everything, every being, every inanimate object. It's just our energy is out and attached to it. And we forget to take that energy back, I feel. And taking the energy back also empowers you, and it heals you by taking your energy back that you've given away freely. So what are your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, definitely true. It's so unique to everyone. Spirit have always taught me from the beginning, because I'm very proudly self-taught, spirit-led. So I really haven't mingled too much in the industry, so to speak, because I can't deal with the influence. It's just my personal choice.
Sure.
but it's also developing a healthy relationship, boundaries with spirit as well. They've got to know their place. So not only do you do the physical shielding and cleansing and all that sort of stuff, you've got to let them know too that, hey, I'm the boss. I'm your conduit. We're working together. We're co-creating, but there's a time and a place. So that took a long time for me to sort of, because I could, even to this day, I can be talking to someone down the street and they'll go, oh, I met the love of my life and everything's going to work out so well. I'm so excited. And spirit are telling me this isn't going to work. And like, who wants to know that? Who wants to feel that? And then you've got to go, oh, good luck, and yeah, have fun with that. And what's going to happen. So
I feel you. And that's the same thing with me. I get these messages and these things too. And I'm like, I don't know how you keep things to yourself unless they ask you. And the same thing. I mean, I get some of these messages too. Or if I meet somebody right away, the moment I interact with your energy, I'll know right away if I want anything to do with you moving forward, or this is our final interaction, even if it's a peaceful one. I'll know right away, just energetically feeling you, when I look you in your eyes and how you talk to me. And if I know you're being truthful and you're coming from a place of your heart and not using this to manipulate and do whatever you want for your own personal gain. And there's been a lot. And that's why I've closed myself in the past. I closed myself off to those things because I've been hurt. I've been hurt a lot by people because I have such a big heart and I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very protective and all these things too. And I've opened myself up and I've been kicked in the balls is what I say, honestly. It's a true story. I've been kicked right in the balls and multiple times. And it makes me kind of have that callus around my heart to not want to open, but I've been opening these things the last couple of years since my mom passed away, which was the rock of our family. And since then, I feel like my spiritual ascension has really taken off. I started hearing the spirits. Like I didn't hear audibly, but I could understand the words that were coming, like almost like it was telepathy in a way is what I feel.
Yes.
I couldn't hear audibly, but I could understand what they were saying. And I recently had in a dream as well, in between sleep and dream, I could hear pitches different, like somebody's talking to me in pitches, but I couldn't quite make out. I almost was at the point where like I could almost understand like we're having a conversation right now, but I could hear the fluctuations and the vibrational levels. So I knew I was getting some type of message but I just couldn't. I probably understood it up here, but I just couldn't hear it to just immediately just throw out what I was hearing at the time. So I feel like as I'm talking to you right now, my hair is standing up on my arm. So that tells me that is a gift that I'm developing as I go along. So I don't know about you. If besides that, are you able to, you just telepathy? Is that how you get your messages, or do you audibly hear things, or just kind of you feel like this is what when they give you these messages? I'd like to know how you interpret them.
I use all my senses, so all my four clairs. But my strongest are my clairsentience, my clairvoyance. So they give it to me in like blocks of thought. So when I'm actually channeling and they're providing me with these blocks of thought, what my task is to articulate into the human language and share it appropriately with the person who's receiving the message. So a lot of people say, aren't you tired after doing so many readings? Aren't you exhausted? And I'm not vibrationally. I'm like, wow, yeah, because, that's an awesome energy. I actually don't want to come down from that cloud, but I get exhausted kind of mentally because I have to find the right words. And I can talk to somebody so straightforward, they love it. But someone I know I've got to be very, very mindful, because we are messing with people's lives at the end of the day. We are influencing them in some way. And I take what I do very seriously, even though I'm very jocular and down to earth and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of mindfulness that does have to come into play as well. So at the moment, I'm developing my mediumship abilities. My mediumship is coming into swing. Go me.
Exactly.
So,
awesome.
And like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. It started off to help me with my own mental health, because mental health runs in our family as well. So I just lost my brother last year to suicide because he was actually a medium, and he could hear the voices and hear. He had post-traumatic stress and all those sort of things as well. And when he tapped in the spiritual side with me, he was great. But as soon as he sort of stepped back into normality, if you could call it that. That's when he kind of couldn't maintain it. So yeah.
Sorry.
So mediumship is my thing at the moment.
Awesome. I'm sorry to hear about your brother. I mean, and I feel like as you're progressing in your journey, I feel like you're becoming more confident. I feel like you as you're developing these things, I feel like you're same thing with all of us as you're developing these things, they're making more sense to you. And same thing for me as I develop. I know we have separate journeys, but similar in ways. And I
Yep.
just know for me personally, I'm still learning. Like you said, you've done this 30 years. I've been doing this, same thing. I've had these gifts since I was a little kid, but it's the development part of it. And I feel like
Oh,
I'm in a good place now to
good.
be able to finally do that. And
Yeah.
that's true story. I mean, I had PTSD, all that stuff too, from being in the
Yeah.
military. And so I understand totally about the mental health issues and all that type of stuff. And just getting all this, besides your own energy you deal with, it's the energy of the other energies around you. And that's why I feel like sometimes it's overwhelming for a lot of people. And, and this isn't for everybody. What I mean by that, not every, you might have gifts or things might come to you, but it's not for everybody. As you mentioned, I take this very seriously as well.
Yeah.
And when I do something, I come from a place of love and integrity when I tell people things. And you're right. I get done and I feel jazzed up most of the time when I'm done with my readings, or energy healings. But I also have that part of me that's kind of like, wow, because most people are coming to us with personal issues or questions or concerns. It's not like I want to go to the tarot reader or whoever, the psychic, so they can tell me all the beautiful things I already have. They can just keep telling me these things. So it's the fact that people are coming. I have problems with my relationship. I have problems with money. I have problems with my health. Those are major categories that we touch on. And I'm sure it's probably similar to you, no matter where you are in the globe. Those are
Yes.
probably the similar, things that you read for people, if I had to guess. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, my forte is personal development. So I'm very passionate about moving people from where they are to where they want to be. Spirit have always told me, and I don't know why, because I think I sound like a foghorn leghorn. But anyway, they just said it's the vibration of your voice. And that's why over the years, people have just said, I just love listening to you. I just love being around your energy. It's not even what I say half the time. So it's just the vibration. And that's basically what they've been telling me, that I've got to put myself out there. It took me a long time. I've only really been doing online work for probably 3 years, because obviously it takes confidence. But I trust spirit now, and I trust my journey. I trust myself. I know who I am. I'm continuously learning it until I make my transition and experience the fullness of what all this is. I'll keep learning as well. But it's fun. You've got to have fun in the journey. You've got to really enjoy it as well and not put so much pressure. Don't let anybody else sort of tell you how it's got to be, what you got to do. Take advice, be influenced, be guided, sure, but do it for yourself. You know what's best for you.
Absolutely. And that's, I resonate with that 100%. When it comes down to things, people can tell you all that there's no gurus. I mean, everyone wants to say I'm a guru this, I'm not. There's nobody. You're a guru. Each person is a guru of themselves.
Selves,
And
yeah.
and what these gurus or these self-proclaimed gurus, all they're doing is regurgitating a lot of things that they've been taught as well. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is there's no such thing as a guru. Now, can you use that information to help and guide others? Absolutely. If it's for the higher, better, or the highest self. And that's kind of what I've been doing as well. I mean, recently, like with Kristen and I, we're starting this Ascension Academy together, and
Yeah.
we're teaching the Fool's Journey as our first course, and the tarot together, the masculine and the feminine, and then we're going to kind of branch off into some other things, energy healings and things like that. So the academy is
Okay.
going to expand. So I'm really excited about that, and I feel like that's part of my mission
Yeah.
on this planet. I feel like in this lifetime is for me to help communicate and teach. And I've always been told that since I was a kid. People come to me.
Yeah.
I get the crazy people that just come to me randomly and start telling me their problems. Like you mentioned, your energy attracts that, and the energy, they need something. They need that interaction energetically, even if it's just telling them and telling me what's going on. So I'm guessing I'm feeling with the goosebumps that you probably get something similar to that, where people just come to you and start talking to you, or just open up and tell you more than you ever set out to know. And they just
Yes.
feel comfortable right away with you. And I feel like that's the gifts that we have that attract the energies to us in order for us to communicate. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm a firm believer in like attracts like at all times.
Mm.
So I set my boundary many years ago with spirit, and I said, please align me with people who truly want to help themselves. I mean, I come from an era where I was literally sitting in gutters reading for people, like flea markets and all that sort of stuff. So, but I got tired of people just being the energy vampire and just taking from me, and they walk away feeling great, and I'm here like concerned or worried or anything of that. So now I sort of said to spirit, if someone really wants to help themselves, no matter whether they're really low vibe or high vibe, I'm open to help them. And that's why I get on each week and do my live readings to help the collective consciousness. I do a lot of charity work as well. So yeah, but it's an ongoing journey.
That's amazing. I know, and you and Ben, you guys do your weekly thing. That's amazing. I got connected to you guys through Ocean Odell.
Okay,
And he's one of the moderators for Kristen's channel, and he was like, "Dude, you guys should check this channel out. I mean, it's really it's good. It's a good environment." So I'm like, all right. So one day when I got done with some videos in my schedule, I'm like, I'm going to click on them and see what's going on. And at the time, I think the first time I interacted with you was when you were on Gypsy Mama, or you came to a Gypsy Mama's channel, I believe it was. And we were talking about doing a show together. You,
oh
me,
yeah.
Gypsy Mama, all of us. Yeah. So I feel like there's a reason why we're all being brought together for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think that what I get a vision, this is what I've been getting recently, and I mentioned this last night on my roundtable, is I get that us light workers, because we're light workers, our job, we're almost covering the earth as a safety net, hand in hand with the darkness around us. I don't know why I feel that. I feel like we're a safety net, and us holding hands, and when we lock hands, all of us, we're going to illuminate the darkness that's around, and there will be nowhere for it to go. So
definitely,
that's what I feel, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling you this on the top of my head. So that tells me that I feel like this is something strong. So I don't know. Have you felt anything similar to that?
Definitely. Look, I'm going to be really honest. I really ostracized myself and kept myself away, because doing what I do in the industry, I've been thrown under the bus so many times with competition, backstabbing, all primary school stuff. So I really stayed in my own lane. So it hasn't been since I sort of reconnected with Ben, because Ben's really developing and flourishing. Like, just watching him over the weeks is absolutely amazing. And I love doing the show on Mondays. But yeah, I open myself up to people like yourselves who have true intention, who respect other people, who value each other's craft. The list could go on. And yeah, since connecting with you guys, I feel like that's happening. And it's definitely, honestly, as us as a collective, we are really going to be needed in the coming 3, 6, 12 months with what's happening. So knowledge is power at the end of the day, everyone. Knowledge is power. So take what you need, leave the rest. A lot of people don't like that saying, but I love it. If just something clicks, research it. Go look into that a bit more, because that's what's meant for you.
Exactly. I agree with that. And that's the same thing with me. It's like I had almost overload at one time a couple of years ago, when crazy stuff going on in the world, as you know, in Australia especially. But even in the U.S., all the crazy things going on in the U.S. and around the world. And since 2020, I lost my mom then, and all the craziness started happening. And I feel like that was a turning point. And something like the world that I thought we lived in, I learned so much, and it was almost an information overload for me at times.
Yeah.
And it took a time, like I don't even go online hardly anymore. I don't do any of that stuff. And only time I go online pretty much is to maybe look something up quickly, or to review my clients for the next day, whatever it may be. But I try to stay away from that stuff as much, because what I got to the point where it's just static, it's garbage.
Yeah.
And and each person has their own opinion and what's going to happen, what's going on in the world. And it's just, all it does is it causes fear, it causes doubts. And this person said this, but this person said that. This didn't happen because this person said it was. I mean, it's so much conflicting and confusion. That's why I feel like our types of interaction to put this stuff out to people is needed. And as you mentioned, 3, 6, 9, whatever it may be, months from, I know we're going to be needed. And there's going to be a lot of us that are going to come out of the woodwork that we never even knew about that have been kind of reclused almost, like yourself, like you mentioned. It's time to open up and start to push forward. So,
Oh, absolutely. Everyone should use their voice, their kindness, whatever they can put out there, even if it's just an ear sometimes, whatever it is. But a lot of people always come to me still to this day and say, I'd love to talk about this. What's going to happen on this sector and all that? And I said, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. That's not my reality. That's not going to be my reality. And I refuse to entertain it. And if the world blows up tomorrow, then I'm going out with a big smile on my dial, living life in my own reality, experiencing my own experiences that I've created for myself, and that'll be the end of it. So
you speak such words to me that resonate with me so much because I got to that point as well. I'm at this point, I'm at peace. I'm at peace with myself. So if the world, I literally have said those words, if the world ended today, I'm good. I'm
yeah,
happy. I know where I'm going to go. I'm not saying that arrogantly. I know where my
no,
spirit is going. And I know as I'm getting goosebumps every time we're talking, that means it's really connecting with me. That's what I'm feeling. It's like that's people need to let go of these fears.
yeah,
That's what keeps our vibrational level down. That's what keeps us in that constant hamster wheel or just that turning wheel of just fear, anxiety, distress, worry, whatever word you want to connect with it. And it's not necessary. And that's how people don't
no.
realize we put these fears into ourselves because we use so much of that. And I used to be a really overthinker. And I don't know about yourself. And some of these aren't my thoughts, and some of them are. And I get a lot of racing thoughts, and I have to
Yeah,
calm it down. And I've developed that where I'm calming these things down. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I use cannabis, and cannabis helps so much when I'm at a high level where I got to
yeah.
take a breath and move on. And that's something that's helped me. And I mean, I'm guessing what you resonate when you say that thing that you just mentioned. It so resonates with me because these are some of the things I've actually said verbatim during my time. So I know that there's no coincidence that these things that you say, I've said. And I know that I've said things that I can guarantee that I know you've probably mentioned somewhere, you know, and that's a
Oh,
lot of us.
definitely.
So, and I feel a lot of us share guides. That's what I feel. I don't know why I feel that. I feel like we all share some guides together. The people that are really coming together, there's got to be some familiarity there, either a
Yeah.
fragmented soul or we share guides or something along that line. Because we have many of them, but I feel like there's some that overlap each other as well. And I don't know what are your thoughts on? Do you feel like we share? I mean, not you and I, but just in general, the people that are attracting. Do you feel like there's some type of connection that way? What do you feel?
Oh, there's got to be. See, I don't necessarily work with guides and things like that myself. I work with energy, and it's through the rockets of our own desire. So if you're sitting back one day and you're sort of sitting there saying, for me, it's like I would love to align myself with other light workers who I can trust and who believe in me and just support me, because that's how I started back in the day at the Psychic Guild. We went to the Psychic Guild, and all we did was support each other through us embracing our own gifts to build our trust.
Sure.
And I said, I'd love to experience that again. And then all of a sudden there's Ben, and then there's Gypsy Mama, and there was Jay, and then now there's you. And that's starting to develop. So yeah, absolutely. Our guides and non-physical are definitely bringing us all together, but it's up to us to choose to go that route as well. You don't know how many times I've sort of sat there and go, no, I'm not going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. Like my ego sitting back going, oh no, what will people think? And, I was going into a bit of a panic and all that. And I went, you know what, rip the Band-Aid. You asked for this. Let's just do it. And I think that's it. It's about, like you
Empowerment.
said, yeah,
Being
empowering
empowered,
each other.
empowering each other, empowering yourself, moving past that fear. And same thing I mentioned in the beginning of our show, same way, getting out there, just getting out there. Like, what are people going to think about me? What are are they going to like what I look like, what I sound like, whatever? Those are all my own insecurities.
Yeah.
And once I just finally said, I don't give a shit anymore about what anybody says, what anybody thinks. I don't care. I finally got to that point where I'm like, I know who I'm connected to, and that's only that I need to worry about is here and up there. Other than that, all the people around me, I give you love. I hope you'll give it back the same as I give it to you. And I finally get to that point where I just stopped caring. And once I did that, literally, I felt like weight came off of my shoulders.
Yeah.
I probably said, I'm done. I'm just done. And I got to that point where, like I said, if it got to the point where the world ended today, I'm okay. I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good place at this point in my life. And I actually feel like I'm the most connected, if that makes any sense. I feel like my
Yeah.
spirit, my mind, and my body are all finally connected within the last couple of days. That's what I feel. The last couple of days for me, everything has been in alignment. I was a little off in some spots, like it was vertical with this line, but I feel like there were some little jogs as I would, but now I feel like everything kind of slipped into alignment for some reason. I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah.
that.
And you'll do it all the time. I call it myself calling myself crooked. I feel crooked. It's not my body. It's just
Right.
I feel crooked. So yeah, and it's an ongoing journey. No one's going to know it all, and don't believe. Oh, I don't know. I shouldn't say that like that. But nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. So my spirit always said to me, "Den, mind your own business. Mind your own business. Leave them to it. Their business is none of your business. You keep doing you. You share from, your own example, and you teach through the clarity of your own example. Don't pretend to know it all, because you never will, and everything will work out fine." So
Awesome.
okay.
I agree with that, and that's what I feel like. Spirit right now is telling me to tell you that to keep pushing forward as you've been. Release these doubts. I feel like you have doubts sometimes,
Always.
and I know that, right. And they want me to. And I'm telling you that I'm getting a push in the
Thank
back.
you.
A push in the back is almost what I
Yeah.
feel. They're like telling you, they're pushing you lightly. Keep going. Keep those feet moving. And that's what they want me to tell you is they want you to keep your journey forward. Release these fears and these doubts, and once you do that, I feel like you're going to attract even more light and abundance to you. So, and I just, because there's some things that you have to let go of, and I have to do that. I had to do that. I'm still working on a lot of these things as well. No one's perfect, but what I'm saying is, like, they want you, there's some things that you have to let go. I feel like something that in
Oh,
your past. So
lots of things. And like you, I lost my mum in 2020 as well. I was caring for her full time by myself, raising 2 children. I've got a lot of real life stuff that I'm still releasing, but it's also the fact that I know what I'm doing now attracts a lot of help me, help me, help me. And I'm thinking, if I get any more open to this, do I want that responsibility? You know what I mean? Like it's very, and it's very overwhelming. But like I said to Spirit, so I don't get overwhelmed, can you draw me to other people that are like-minded? So if I'm overwhelmed, I could say, go see Jason. Go see Jason. He's a wonderful reader as well. And you have a little posse, so to speak, of people that you can sort of guide others to, because there's no competition and everyone offers something different. So, but I validate your message. That is very true. Thank you. And I know they got the size 10 boot. And I'm like, yeah, we'll get there.
no, I mean, it's not just you. I mean, this is a message that seems familiar because I've mentioned this before, but honestly, it's the physical part that I feel is the pushing. And I feel like you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone as well.
Yeah,
But they want you to keep pushing the envelope because you're expanding your energy field and the things that are going to come to you by doing this. It's the fool's journey. You're on this journey as well, like all of us are in your own individual, but they're pushing you. I feel like they've been pushing you recently a lot more than you like, to out of your comfort zone, as you mentioned. And
definitely.
it's something that they're acknowledging. They're saying they're very proud of what you're doing and to continue to push. And they keep telling me to push. So I'm telling you to push.
Thank you. And to have the support makes me teary because I've, like I say, I haven't had that much support. So I know Spirit are always there telling me what to do, but to hear it from someone, that's really nice. So thank you.
No worries. So I mean, it's been a little over, about 40 minutes in already. So I just, if there's anything, it's been an amazing interview. I know, just kind of get to know you. I want to, get to know you a little bit more moving forward. And like I mentioned, I'd like to or bring you on to the roundtable with us sometime.
Oh, I'd love that.
And just kind of, we just talk about just general stuff, spiritual stuff, things that people experience, just to kind of get the information out there. And I would definitely love the opportunity for you to come join us on a roundtable sometime.
Oh, be an honor. Would love it. Yes,
All
please.
Right. Amazing. So I want to thank you once again for taking your time, and your accent is amazing. I enjoy it. So a good thing.
As is yours.
Thanks. Right. It's, I guess it would be an accent for you guys here, and they're like, oh yeah, it sounds different. So, but
Well,
yeah,
a
it's
lot of people
amazing.
I follow are American, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So there's probably a lot more of us on in the platforms, I would guess. And you know,
yeah, there is actually, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, if there's
Oh,
any time
thanks.
that you want to, don't hesitate. I'll shoot you another email. I know this is on our broadcast, but don't hesitate to reach out. Honestly,
Oh,
if you
thank
have
you. Same
questions, I
goes.
don't mind pulling cards for you. I know you do the same for me if need be.
Absolutely.
But I just
Yeah.
want to
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Jason. It's been awesome.
You're welcome. So
Yeah.
thank you. Light and love I'm sending to you.
Yes.
All
You
right.
too.
Soldier of Light out.